Hey, besties. Let's throw some shade, honey. You ready to get into it? Karen, really? Really? You told Giselle that your event was earlier that day and that everything would be copacetic with everybody going to both of your events. And then you come with your foolishness at 6:30 in the morning, the day of? Really, Karen? Really? And then she want to know who her girls are. Child, what kind of campaign you on with this? Everybody is talking about this DUI, Karen. It's a DUI. It's something to talk about. People are concerned, and yes, people gonna have an opinion and judge and gossip. Yes, but who your girls are, it should be anybody with a license and a car and some registration. Woo, child. Hey, besties. Welcome to the channel. It's Behind the Shade. Let's throw some shade, honey, on these girls in Potomac. It's another episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac. It's season 9, episode 2, Double Trouble. Now, do we like the title of this episode? Nope. Do we understand it? Yep. Will we change it? Sure. And besties, let me know what you will rate this episode. What have you rated the episode? What are you giving it? Where are you giving it? Where are you giving it? The season starting off pretty good. It was a solid 8.5, I'll say. Okay, let's get into it. Don't forget to like the video as you come in. Don't forget to share the video with friends, your besties, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Sometimes you have to unsubscribe and resubscribe because YouTube be tripping sometimes. And let's get into it. So we start off, it's a continuation from last week. Mia's in the restroom crying. Jacqueline is encouraging her, blah, blah, blah. She feels like Karen deflects. She does. How about Karen is deflecting? And, Mia questions her, her protecting her kids. She said that was so disheartening. And it is. Don't be coming for people, kids, and all that. Don't come. There is no handbook on how this goes. Now, knock it off. Now, is she getting her? Is she a little rah-rah? Yes, but a good mother she seems so. So at the table, the Hatitude theme party continues. Giselle gives Wendy the bucket hat because their friendship has been in the bucket. Okay, Giselle. And so she wants, them to get together so that they can get in a better place, and they get together the next day. So Wendy accepts her hat. It's black leather. I guess to remind her that of a rapper, maybe like I don't know. I just thought of EPMD, but they wore fisherman hats. But anyway, somebody wore a bucket hat. I think it was kind of hot with the black movement in the 90s. So Wendy does her rap. She thinks all the girls want to touch her boobies. No, they don't. And for some reason, this is this if you're a movie buff, this came from Coming to America. I'm not a movie buff, so I didn't pick up on it, but a few people said, oh yeah, that was somebody at the table started rapping. Now, I don't know if this must be the new Coming to America, I'm gonna assume. But then again, besties, let me know I'm not a movie buff. So Giselle wants to get together with Wendy so they can get in a better place. Giselle gives herself, okay, the queen hat. And it wasn't even a queen's hat to me. It just was a hat. A queen's hat should have been more like a crown, in my opinion. Wendy was like, oh, no, tomatoes. Then Giselle gives the new ladies, Vivian, Stacy, and I called her Jazzy. Is it Jassy? Jesse? Jassy? I'm going to say Jassy. and gave Jassy, she gave them derby hats like welcome to the race. They accept their hats. I didn't like them. Um, but they did work. They did look cute. They could have been cuter derby hats, you know? Anyway, so Mia comes back to the table, and Giselle and Karen, they immediately apologize to her for questioning her parenting. Now, I'm just like, did production tell them that that's what they should have done? Because, honey, in the whole history of Potomac, I have never known those two ladies to apologize and take accountability so quickly. But like Giselle said, I didn't want to make her cry, and I wasn't trying to. Yeah, you was, but you didn't want it to. You didn't want her to react. You meant what you said. You're just sorry for the way it hurt her, and don't you ever say it again. Because if somebody come for y'all kids, OMG. But Karen gonna tell him, but girl, you are a G. Karen's like, I'm sorry, Mia, but honey, you are a G. Well, Karen, they say you are too in your little old way. Blue eyes. Uh-huh. So Mia says she was hurt, but she knows the truth. She said that in her confessional, honey. Well, Mia, what's the truth, girl? Okay, tell us. I'm sure she will. So Giselle gives Jacqueline a derby hat also. She's welcoming her back to the race. Wendy says, well, it's Mia's fault she left the group, and it is. Mia is the reason. Yes, ma'am. So over at Karen's house the next day, Ray is making her coffee, and she like, what are you doing? And she tastes the coffee, and she said, oh, this is coffee for a horse. And I thought that was funny. That's why I added it. It was kind of cute. Now Mia's over at her house with the kids. They're in the kitchen. They're eating popsicles, and she wants kisses from her son. And child, the way her daughter turned around and looked at us into the camera like, ugh. I was like, that was cute. I'm liking how production is picking up on the cute things, the little cute things. I'm here for the cute little things, you know? So she was frowning because her mom is kissing all on her brother. She just like, she thinks it's gross. So Giselle and Wendy meet for lunch, honey. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And they both seem so uncomfortable and nervous. So, production made them do this, right? So much has happened. So at the table, Giselle got there first. So when Wendy comes in with her feathers, Giselle tells her to hold on because she's texting somebody. Besties, honey, I tell you, I think that was Robin texting her talking about, oh, so you about to go ahead, so you about to have a lunch with the ops? Some people sure have changed since I left. I was like, that was Robin texting her. So Giselle tells Wendy, when she's cool, she's cool. She said, fine, but when you're good, you cool, that kind of thing. But when you're not, you come off as very condescending, and Giselle doesn't like it. Well, and she says, then there's no room for friendship. Well, that is the behavior when you don't like somebody. You are too, Giselle. You have a good cold shoulder too. And that's why when you don't like somebody, you don't come around them. But this is a reality show, so they have to come around each other. So Wendy says it's unfair to police people. How it's unfair for you to police how people respond when you come for them. She says so. She's like, I don't do that. So there's a flashback to Giselle saying Eddie was cheating on Wendy, and that's why she got the boob job. And so she continues and says she doesn't like the way Giselle tries to alienate people. Giselle says, if I don't like you, I don't want to speak to you. And they all agree. I mean, y'all both doing the same thing. So moving forward, they agree that if there's a problem with Wendy, she will tell her. And Wendy said, in the moment. And she was like, yes, in the moment. They agree. It's fair. Boom, shakalaka, boom. They're good now. I bet you Robin text Giselle again. What are you doing? So now Giselle thinks that they can be besties. And Wendy was like, no. Maybe Wendy, maybe. So Giselle asked Wendy, what did she think about, Karen's birthday party? And so, excuse me, you guys, Wendy compliments her for throwing Karen the party. This says that Mia was hurt by what they said to her. And Giselle says she wasn't questioning her as a mother, just didn't want Mia's drama to come up at the party. Well, okay. Wendy asks Giselle, has she met Ink? They jump over there with Ink. And she said, no, Karen has. She said she looked over at him and she almost missed him because he's so short. Child. And so Wendy gonna say, is that why they pose like that? And she gave it a name, child. Who knew that it's called a stagger step? It's a stagger step. And so Giselle gonna say, yeah, they don't see eye to eye. Oh, they don't see eye to eye. That was a good one, Giselle. Okay, and I think no, that couldn't have been the name, but that would have been a good name of the title. Does the title have to? Yeah, it does have to kind of represent what happened in the episode, right? Because they don't see eye to eye would have been cute. That would have been a cute title. Okay, so over at Stacy's house, hey, new lady, Stacy, is your husband home? We learned that she's from Detroit. What up, though? Her daughter is at the house with a nanny or something learning Spanish because she's going to somewhere in Mexico with her dad for break. And so, the daughter is half German because her dad is German. So she knows German and now she's learning Spanish. So she's going to be trilingual. Now, we learn that the dad lives in the house with them as they are divorcing. She calls it divorcing with class. They live in two different bedrooms and there's two homes. Now, this is the house in the suburbs of DC. And then she has an apartment in downtown DC. And what does she call it? The something. And she splits her time between both places. Like when he's home, she goes to her apartment because, he could be there with the daughter. Then when he goes out of town, she goes to the house and be with the daughter. Now, they're not telling the daughter that they're divorced, that they're divorcing until everything is said and done so that they can know what the custody is and the schools and all that. But Stacy, your daughter is 8. She's not crazy. I don't get how these parents think these kids are not peeping game. First of all, you sleep in two different bedrooms. Duh, hello. That's number one. That's a telltale sign there. Number two, you got two different places to live. And like just now, you said they're going to Mexico. You're not going with them. You don't think the girl know y'all not together? What are you thinking? Just because you haven't told her, you don't think she knows? Okay, y'all, I'm on coffee this morning. I got to get to my water, but I'm doing coffee right now. So it's just baffling. It's just like, no, you need to sit her down and talk to her. You got to get ahead of things, to protect them and just to let them know this is serious. She needs to understand why when dad is at home, mom isn't, and you guys are dating. You think she don't know? I mean, come on. Let's keep it real. That girl, her father probably already told her because she probably knows his girlfriends. Come on, Stacey. You got to be clever than that. But the 8-year-old, she knows, honey. She knows. Y'all not doing nothing together just because you talking and getting along. You guys sleep in two different bedrooms and sometimes two different houses. It's the writing is on the wall. Sit down and talk to your daughter. Okay, so yes, yes, yes. Stacy has a boo. She met him down there at the QVC. Woo, woo, woo. I said, okay, girl, dust yourself off and try again already, then, honey. And Stacy, you got to be careful, honey, because people don't like when you're dating and you're not divorced yet. People don't like that. So Kiana goes over and visits her homegirl, Karen. They are the best of friends. They so close, right? So Kiana brings Karen birthday goodies. We never get to see what was in the box. We don't know if it was a cake, crumpets, cookies, cupcakes, donuts, senorita bread, churro sticks. We don't know what was in that box. So Karen describes Kierna. She calls her K. So I might use both. So Kierna, her nickname is K. She says she's fiery and spicy. We know, honey, because she jumped all in the fight with Deborah and Candace and got mollywopped a little bit. So we learned that she's moving in with her boyfriend, Greg, without a ring. She's moving in his place. They're going to build a house together. So Karen, of course, she going to always ask about where's the ring. And she was like, yeah, my mom wants me to get a ring too. And then we learned that she hasn't been in a serious relationship in 9 years. Her late fiance passed away unexpectedly. And so she had to, give herself time to heal. And so 9 years later, she's in love with Greg. So then she learned about Karen's birthday lunch that she was not invited to, honey. So they flash back to Giselle saying that she will try to invite Kierna because she's not sure how many people can sit at the one table that she has reserved. Okay, that's understandable, but we're talking about one more person, Giselle. We talk about one more person. So Karen is upset about it because her and Karen are very close, and she feels that Giselle was being shady. Now I thought Karen was Wendy's friend, y'all. What was it? Wasn't she Wendy's friend? Right? I don't recall her being Karen's friend, but I do understand you try to, you get close, get familiar. So Karen told her about the next G&A fusion event. And Kieran is like, yeah, no, thank you. She's cool on the ghetto events. ah, Karen tells her that the girls had questions about her DUI, especially Jacqueline and Mia. And she wants to know who the real itches in her life are, because if they not on her team, it's deuces. And then she tells us that Jacqueline is on a timeout because she asked a question. I think I wrote that down later. Okay. And I'm just want to reiterate this to you, Karen. You had a DUI. You were driving drunkenly, crashed, tow your car up. You didn't have a license. The car wasn't registered. You hurt your rib and what else? You had 2 broken fingernails last week. People are going to talk. They're going to figure this out. They care. They're concerned. They're going to piece it together. They have their own experiences to add in. Not like they got into a DUI themselves, but they going to add stuff to it. They're going to piece it together. They're going to gossip and they're going to lie about it. Okay. That comes with the territory. And you would do it too if one of them girls got into a DUI. You are deflecting highly. Okay. So Ashley and Stacy go for a walk. Stacy explains her living situation to Ashley, and Ashley's like, oh, what? Oh, could be what? And I'm like, Ashley, shut up. You and Mike was living in that darn penthouse, not doing nothing. And I bet you he was staying at the house he bought you just now. Come on, Kettle, stop it. Come on, Black Kettle, knock it off. So Stacy asked Ashley what her nationality was, and she said, my dad is white, my mom is black. So she said, so you're biracial. Well, yes, that's what that means, Stacy. And so she says she identifies as a black woman. And why do you have to pick and choose? You identify as both. But I get it. Ashley was saying how she's been around, her black family because her mother's black. And then you remember her father don't fool with her, so maybe she just hasn't been exposed. But just because you didn't grow up with your white side, you should still acknowledge both of your heritages. You just should. You're biracial. You're not black. You're biracial. I mean, honor the other side of you, girl. Especially when you get into a biracial relationship and have biracial kids also. Okay. So uh she says only blacks. So wait, so Ashley's telling her that the kids, she's trying to figure out what they gonna identify as because the only blacks they know is her family, and she's not, they're not really around them that much, and it's hard because they're growing up as white boys, right? And I'm like, Ashley, you live in DC, the District of Columbia. You live in Chocolate City. You live right down the street from the African American Museum. You live by black colleges. There are black people in DC. There are black things to do. I'll say there are black things to do for kids in DC, in Maryland, in Virginia, wherever you live. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it hard for them to know their black side? You don't live in Omaha or Wyoming, or you're not in Montana. You are in DC. Goodness gracious. So you need to work on that, sweetheart. You need to work on that. Uh, so Stacy says, she feels her because her family is all in Detroit. What up, though? And her daughter isn't around them. And as a German, Germans are very proud people. And, that's how she's being raised with her father. And it's like, well, you both are responsible for teaching your children their black heritage. Like, why is that hard? You think Annabelle, what's her name? Arabella, she looks at you, she sees you're black, she looks at her dad, she knows. Oh God, Jesus. Okay, so okay, you guys, it's not that hard. Please work on that. You live in DC, you don't live in any old unremote place where you, girl. So I'm glad they can bond with that and work on their how to improve their biracial kids' journeys with their two different races. Build them up and teach them their black side. That's all you got to do, ladies. Now, Stacy and her boo, the boo that she met at QVC, he's a cute little white boy, too. That's her flavor. So they're not intimate at all. He's a devout Christian and he wants to wait until marriage. Here go Ashley. Oh, it couldn't be me. Girl, you old freak. Be quiet. It couldn't be me. Okay, girl. So Ashley asked her, you want to get married again? And she's like, well, yeah, that's the path we're taking. So that's that on that. So then Karen gets dropped off at Giselle's house, honey. I thought it was Ray that dropped her off. Giselle was like, I was trying to see who dropped you off. Was it Ray? Was it an Uber driver? So Karen said, it's my Uber. Beyonce has a driver, and so do I. And so Giselle told her, yeah, your last driver was Blue Eyes. And Karen did not deny it or nothing. She acknowledged it. She said, yes, and I'm getting another driver. So there was a Blue Eyes, huh, Karen? Huh? So Giselle asked about the party, how she liked the party. So Karen pointed out to Giselle that she was shady with that drink menu. She had a non-alcoholic drink called the Grand Dame. And she said, well, Karen, I was trying to do woo. And she was like, yeah, but you didn't have to put it on the menu and make it a big deal because people read that and that wasn't cool. I mean, Karen, did you not have a DUI? Do you remember? Girl, your deflection is deflecting. There was nothing wrong with that girl putting a non-alcoholic drink on the menu called the Grand Dame. There was nothing wrong with that. I mean, a little shady? Not really. I don't think so. But whatever. But you're deflecting, so of course you're going to see it that way. And so, she was like, Giselle, you have been tacky, messy, and shady in the past. She has, but I don't really think that was it. Maybe not inviting Kierna was the shady part of this party, but not the Grand Dame. It should be a non-alcoholic drink so that you, anyway, whatever, Karen. Giselle told her she talked to Wendy and they hashed things out and they're going to do better. And Karen's like, I like that. Yeah, that's good. So Giselle asked Karen, has she seen Jacqueline? I'm calling her Jackie. Does she go by Jackie? I don't even think so. She said, asked her, have you seen Jacqueline? Because she had a lot of questions to ask, but she didn't. So Karen says, Jacqueline is on timeout because she said she was going to wait until the outcome of my case. Blah, blah, blah. That pissed you off, huh, Karen? So Karen tells Giselle about not inviting Karen to the party. You didn't invite her. And Giselle again says there was only a certain amount that she could invite. And she said to stop being messy, telling her I didn't invite her on purpose. We don't have no issues. And it's like, Giselle, they're close. It was gonna come up. You think that Karen was gonna? It's like, hey girl, hey, how are you? I know your birthday. What did you do? Oh, Giselle threw me a birthday lunch, and it was called Hattattoos, and it was so much fun. And girl, we blew. You don't think they talked about it, especially with the Mia thing? You don't think they talked about it? So she was like, so Giselle was like, well, I'll invite her to the GNA event. And Karen's like, okay. I'm like, Karen, you were supposed to say she ain't coming to that. Karen, you were supposed to say. So Giselle says they're moving from those terrible clothes that they tried to come out with. And they're going to move towards health and wellness due to her father's passing. He passed away with the with the brain tumor. And so Karen lets Giselle know she's going to be given an award on the same day. And it's called the Femme Powered Award. It's the same day. She says she'll come to the event afterwards. So, honey, Giselle says she got the same invitation, and Karen was not on the honoraries list. She's like, she was not on. She said maybe somebody else pulled out at the last minute, and Karen submitted her request and got approved to be on the panel or whatever to receive this award. So then the very next day, 6:30 in the morning, Karen texts all the ladies to invite them to her event. Now, all of a sudden, it's at the same time. And I was wondering who would have an award ceremony in the morning or early afternoon. But I don't live in DC or Potomac, so I don't know how they get down on the East Coast. But I was wondering. So anyway, Karen texts all of them and says it's at the same time as GNA, but she's encouraging them to support both events. And in addition to that, honey, Karen is offering transportation to her event. Girl, you cannot be serious. I can't believe she would. So Giselle is like, I can't believe she would do this after I planned her a birthday party. And it's like, I know, right? And I just feel like, Karen, you should have picked up the phone, called Giselle, and talked to her about maybe splitting the girls up. Like, Karen, you could have easily had Vivian, Stacy, Kierna, and Wendy come to your event. And then the rest of the girls would go to the GNA and being that. And then y'all could have went over to GNA afterwards. Okay. Just because the event is over at 9 does not mean they were clearing out the room at 9. I mean, you do have to clean up the place, right? So, yeah. So Giselle responds and she tells him, it doesn't make sense to be trying to go all over the city. Just go to her event. It's all good, whatever. And so so Giselle, later on, Giselle had told Ashley, I told them to go over there because, this ain't no, she treated like it's a bear crawl. And I'm like, it's a bar crawl. And I'm like, exactly. You know how like a bar crawl, you get on a little trolley and you going from bar to bar to bar to bar. It's like, that's not what this is. And I'm like, I get you, Giselle. I like that. That was a good comparison. So Wendy says in her confessional, she was like, I'm Team Karen. And Mia says Karen needs attention. And Stacy says she wouldn't have done that. But don't tell us what she would have done. And I think they should have followed what I would have done. Okay. So Giselle says, what she's being honored for? She was like, what is she being honored for? Running into a tree? Giselle, stop it. You're making me laugh too many times in this one episode. I think that's 3 times. Stop it. I can't handle you. This is too hilarious. She said, what are they honoring her for? Running into a tree. That is not funny, but it is. So at the GNA event, the room is perfectly decorated. It does look nice. It's really cute. Giselle greets the ladies from the Brain Tumor Society and other people who helped with the event. Her dad had a CAT scan done, and that's when the brain tumor was detected. I believe it was cancerous. And then 12 days later, he passes away. So she wants to bring awareness to this. So, because you should be able to survive a brain tumor. And that's right. Early detection. I guess they're going to figure out how you can be diagnosed, sooner than later. So as she shows up, Giselle says she doesn't want no one to show up. And they're like, oh my God, isn't this crazy that you get the text? They're talking about the text. And so Ashley says she is side-eyeing Karen. Like, who does that? So she's hoping that people do come, of course, right? So now it's Wendy, Mia, Jassy, Stacy, and Kierna. They're all in the Sprinter van heading to Karen's event. They got alcohol, they in there kicking it, having a good time. And Vivian shows up to the GNA event. So Giselle greeted her and tells her she thought she would be at Karen's event. And she said, well, Ashley invited me here, and this is where I'm at. And that's very ladylike. That was very ladylike of you, Vivian. And I wonder if Karen gonna be mad at her later. So she was like, so then Vivian just innocently asked, are they coming? And so Giselle was like, I don't care. And she walked off, and it was like, oh, okay. That's that energy. Okay. So in the Sprinter van, the ladies are discussing these 2 events. And so I think it was Stacy that said, they have been put in an uncomfortable position, and they have. And it's just like, hey, some should go here, some should go there, and that should be the end of that. Meet up later for a cocktail, whatever. So Jacqueline shows up to the GNA. And so I was sitting here thinking, where's Robin? Why Robin wasn't at the GNA? She could have been blurred out. She could have been in the background. I know she couldn't have been mentioned, but she could have been, whatever. Maybe she was there. So Jassy and Mia call Ashley to tell her they're coming after Karen's event. So they're trying to discuss, well, what time? And they're like, around 8:30. And so Ashley tells them, well, the event is over at 9. Try to be here by 8. And it's like, they're like, oh, okay. So they're discussing like, well, what we gonna do by the time we get to Karen's, we just gonna go in there, say hi, and leave because time is ticking, right? The time is ticking. So Kiana and Wendy say they are supporting Karen, and the group can split up. Like they gonna stay at the award ceremony, and they can leave them. They'll catch an Uber or whatever. So they asked the driver how far away are the 2 events, and he said it's a 24-minute drive. And then Wendy was like, well, you just need to go ahead and send your regrets to Giselle because that DC traffic is wild. They ain't gonna make it. So Ashley tells Giselle about the call. And so Giselle's like, Karen is just rude. And she said, tell them don't come. Just don't come. It's fine. Don't come. And so at the table, Jacqueline finds out that she was not included in Karen's group chat. Girl, Karen said you was on a timeout, girl. You should have said what you said. Karen feels like the girls like her more than they like Giselle because they all showed up to her event. Girl, stop being petty. You told them they was you did you know why they came? Because you offered transportation. Honey, that will always be it for me. Oh, you gonna come pick me up? Oh, okay. Don't nobody feel like driving and it's raining. So then she goes clean it up and say it wasn't her objective for them to leave, Giselle high and dry. Yeah, okay. But the people have spoken. Now, Karen, moving on. Then she asked the girls what's going on at Giselle's and what's the word, what's the temperature over there, because she wants them to support her and GNA. Girl, if that was knock it off. Knock it off. So Jassy, Mia, and Stacy, they leave to go to GNA. It's 7:39, child. They arrived to the event at 8:02. And then they in the car talking about what we gonna say about the other two that the others that didn't come. And they was like, we're not gonna say nothing. And because Wendy and Kierna stayed back. And Kierna, you could have came to the GNA event, honey. Deborah wasn't gonna be there this time, honey. It's safe and sound. Candace or Deborah was gonna be there. Is it Deborah or Deborah? I think it's Deborah, right? Kira, you could have came, girl. So they walk in, hi, hi, hi. Giselle was taking a picture with a little guy, and she said, "Oh wait, hold on." Child, she dashes over there to them. No, 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 Mia, no, no, ladies, please leave. And she's all they like, hey, what? She's like, William, and she's like, okay, just go, William. Child, she was like, bye bye. They looking like what? What? William looking like at Giselle like, let's not do this. Please. What do you want me to do? You want me to, oh my gosh, we're almost done. Why are you not gonna let them stay? He was looking worried, like, oh my gosh, Giselle, no. You calling my name all on national TV, trying to give me my 2 minutes of fame. What is William gonna do with them girls? Well, we'll find out next week because it is a to be continued, besties. And that was the end of the episode. Um, wow, it was a mess. Double Trouble is really what this was. I'm not changing the title. If you did, put it down in the comments. Let me know what you rate this week's episode. It was a good. I'm gonna give it a good. I said 8.5. I'll keep it there because Giselle says some funny stuff. Karen being nasty, shady, and we'll see what happens next week, besties. Have a good day. Bye, besties.